about bread. How does it start?
It all starts with the grain. We've got to go to the farm. And the farm, this one is from a station called Toonbar, where they have actually grown this single origin, beautiful grain for us, wheat that we are going to be milling today and making some fantastic bread with.
Okay. Take us through the process, because we've got our own mill here.
Yes, so we have brought a mill into the Opera House. First time, I reckon, that is a mill. And people have told me that it actually looks like Danish design with that beautiful design of the mill. But it's actually made in Germany. But what we have, we run the grains through the mill and we create this most amazing whole meal.
So I'm just going to try the raw grain. It's kind of hard.
It is quite hard.
It's kind of hard to chew. And then, but this is warm. Why is it warm?
This is the friction between the two stones in the mill that actually grinds it. It creates a little bit of heat. And what we get out here is a flour that is full of vitamins, lots of activity in the enzymes, and it's just perfect for baking.
Should it be sweet? Like if I try it,
See, normally when you would taste flour, you wouldn't get
this. It tastes nice though. It's not sweet, but it tastes nice.
Yeah. And you get flour all over.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Okay, so then you add olive and potato?
So what we're doing now, so here's the dough. We have already made the first dough, and this is beautiful. This is all about this texture in the dough we get because we have this amazing flour. But what we're going to do as well, I'm going to chop up these baked potatoes and actually mix into this dough. And why are we doing that? Well, a couple of things. We wanted to connect with the community. So there's all these beautiful homegrowners that has delivered stuff to the Opera House to actually get for this TEDx experience. Well, we have had some beautiful people that has actually over the last, I would say, 5 months have grown potatoes for us. We baked them and we're going to put them in our bread. So we want to kind of see if we can bring community into the bread. And potato and bread goes really well together. It will create a beautiful waxy bread that's just full of flavor of the baked potatoes. We're going to finish the bread up with some rosemary, some fantastic sea salt, and come back for lunch, and we will have the bread right here to eat.
All right, thank you, Michael. So John wants your garbage. Is that a fair way to put it?
I'd love to get more food waste out of Sydney. I would. What we've got here is a picture of my first load of food waste out of cafes, and I've mixed it in with some horse manure from the stables, and we're making some great compost, which is the basis for your soil. You've got to have really good soil to make a good product.
Okay, so we should just backpedal a little bit. You're a dairy farmer, and you're sick of sending all your nutrients, as you say, to Sydney and getting nothing back. So you want compost back from cafes and restaurants, food waste.
Yes.
I assume there's no meat in that?
No meat.
So it's just kind of vegetable matter?
Yes.
And then you mix it with?
Some horse manure and straw and stuff from the stables in Sydney, and it's turning into very good compost.
And you've actually can show us the contrast between fields that you've put and pasture that you've put this on and stuff that hasn't. And that's here, is it?
There's a picture here. You can see where I've got a lot of compost and a lot of carbon in all this soil on this side of the creek, but you can see how poor the soil is on the other side. It's really different carbon levels, and that's basis of compost.
And what I love there, of course, is your medal that you got the Royalies to show that you're the only kind of independent farmer ever to win it.
That's correct, yeah. It's always been one of the big companies, and I was the first one to win it, and thank you.
Good on you, John. Now listen, you make your organic milk and cream products, and one of the people you supply to is Pepe.
That's correct. From the soils and the grasses, we go through to some cream, and Pepe here then makes the cream into cream fresh.
Okay, so Pepe is the man behind this amazing butter. You take John's cream, and then what do you do with that?
Well, we take the cream, we bring it up to Sydney, it comes up once a week, large quantities of it. Then we ferment it. So by fermenting, what I mean is we sour it down. Now, to do that, we inoculate it with a lactic bacteria, which in turn eats up all the lactose in the cream and turns it into lactic acid. So you get a really low pH level, which gives, basically what we're trying to do is taint the fat before we churn. So in saying all that, we're making, from that cream, we make creme fraiche, which is sour cream, but we age it for a long period of time, about 3 weeks. And that really matures and makes it the acidity about 4.3. Then we churn the butter in big mixers, and then we wash the buttermilk off to get all the acidity off, and then we end up with a butter with acidity of about 5.5, which comes out perfect, just the perfect.
What is buttermilk? Because sometimes you see it in recipes, and it's like some old-timer things like bread and dripping, buttermilk, but what is it?
Well, buttermilk is the whey left over from the butter making process, but how you find it in supermarkets today is just skim milk with culture added.
So back in the old days, you had your curds and whey because you were poor and you needed to eat it, but now it's a waste product, we throw it away.
Well, I don't throw it away. All the chefs in Sydney take it. All the top chefs in Sydney buy this stuff. It's like gold to them.
What do you use it for?
Well, traditionally they use it for baking. So buttermilk would be put into pancakes because the acidity in the buttermilk reacts with the yeast and makes the pancake fluffy. But the best thing to do with it is marinate chicken in it. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow. Okay. So you got the butter here.
Yep.
Now you need it on this board, but specially prepared. It looks like it's just wood, but actually it's got beeswax in it,
Yes.
which we were just looking at a second ago. Why?
Well, the beeswax seals the board. So you're sealing all the crevices in the board and you're making it a surface that the butter can't penetrate. So you can't have any leftover fat on the board after you wash. And the beeswax, it's organic beeswax from Carmen at Honey Delight. It's absolutely beautiful stuff.
It looks amazing, and I'm just wondering whether it gives your butter any honey.
Well, this stuff is a little bit flavoured on the honey side, but we've got some other stuff that we haven't done on this board. So it's quite nice.
All right, Pepe, thank you so much for showing us this.
Thank you.